20 years, 2 decades of dominance, a career that has redefined what it means to be great in this league. And now, for the first time ever, the narrative has shifted in a way that nobody saw coming, not because of decline, not because of injury, not because of drama, but because of something that happens to every legend eventually, something that even the greatest player of a generation cannot control. Stay with me, because what I'm about to break down represents a seismic shift in Lakers basketball, and how we navigate this moment will define our championship aspirations for the next 5 years. What's up, Lakers Nation? Welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, your ultimate destination for breaking news, in-depth analysis, and everything happening with the Los Angeles Lakers. I'm here to bring you the latest updates, strategic insights, and the honest conversations that matter most to you as a fan of the purple and gold. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it right now, because you need to be plugged into what's coming next for this franchise. Let me take you back to a moment that changed everything. February of this past season, the trade deadline. The Lakers were sitting at a respectable record, but clearly needed something more to compete with the elite teams in the Western Conference. Rob Pelinka had been working the phones, exploring every possible avenue to upgrade the roster. And then it happened. A trade that nobody, and I mean absolutely nobody, saw coming. A trade so shocking, so unprecedented, that it sent shockwaves through the entire NBA. The Lakers traded Anthony Davis to the Dallas Mavericks in exchange for Luka Doncic. Take a moment to let that sink in. The Lakers traded their franchise cornerstone, their defensive anchor, their most dominant two-way player, for a 26-year-old offensive savant, who many consider to be the best player in the world right now. The basketball world was polarized. Some called it genius. Others called it insanity. But Rob Pelinka saw something that others didn't. He saw an opportunity to reset the timeline, to build around a generational talent who could lead this franchise for the next decade, to position the Lakers for sustained excellence rather than chasing one more championship with an aging core. The dust has settled now, and the results speak for themselves. The Lakers are currently sitting at 15 wins and 4 losses. That's the second-best record in the Western Conference. That's championship-level basketball. Luka Doncic is averaging MVP-caliber numbers, putting up performances that have Lakers fans wondering how we ever lived without him. He's orchestrating the offense with a level of creativity and efficiency that we haven't seen since the Showtime era. He's making everyone around him better. He's embracing the pressure and the spotlight that comes with wearing purple and gold. He's everything we could have hoped for and more. But here's where the story takes an interesting turn, a turn that brings us to the heart of what I need to discuss with you today. Alongside Doncic's brilliance, we've witnessed another remarkable development. Austin Reaves has emerged as one of the most surprising breakout stars of the 2025-26 season. This kid, who was once an undrafted afterthought, is now playing like an all-star caliber guard. He's scoring efficiently, facilitating the offense, defending at a high level, and showing the kind of basketball IQ that you can't teach. The Reaves-Doncic partnership has become one of the most dynamic duos in the entire league, and together they're leading the Lakers to heights that seemed impossible just a year ago. So where does that leave the player who has been the face of this franchise for the past several years? Where does that leave the man who brought us a championship in the bubble? Where does that leave LeBron James? For the first time in his 20-year career, LeBron is not the main man of the franchise he plays for. Think about that for a second. 20 years, 4 different teams, multiple championships, multiple MVP awards, always the alpha, always the guy, always the one that everything runs through. Until now, early in the season, the Lakers actually flew high in LeBron's absence. There were games where he sat out, and the team looked just as good, if not better. The offense flowed more freely. Younger players got more opportunities. The pace picked up. And it left many people, including some within the organization, wondering where exactly LeBron fits into this new iteration of Lakers basketball. That's not a question anyone ever thought they'd be asking about LeBron James, but here we are. Now, before anyone accuses me of disrespecting the king, let me be crystal clear about something. LeBron James can still play at an incredibly high level, even at 41 years old, even dealing with sciatica issues in his left leg, even coming off the bench in some games. LeBron has shown that he can contribute meaningful minutes. He's averaging over 20 points per game when he plays. His basketball IQ is still off the charts. His passing ability is still elite. His leadership is still valuable. The man can still hoop, and anyone who says otherwise isn't watching the same games I'm watching. But basketball is a business, and organizations have to make decisions based on what's best for the long-term health of the franchise. And that's where things get complicated. That's where we have to have an honest conversation about what the future looks like and what role, if any, LeBron plays in that future. Stephen A. Smith recently went on record with some thoughts about this exact situation, and I think it's worth exploring what he said because it reflects a sentiment that's growing within NBA circles. Stephen A., who has had his differences with LeBron over the years, appeared on a recent podcast and made some fascinating points. He acknowledged that LeBron, even with his sciatica, can come back at 41 and average above 20 points per game. That's not the issue. The issue, according to Stephen A., is that if the Lakers had a choice, they would trade him. Not because of his game, but because of his age and because of what the franchise now has in Luka Doncic. Let me read you exactly what Stephen A. said, because I think his words are important here. He said, "Because of his age and the fact you've got Luka as the future. Luka's 26, and you want some young cats to play, not someone who's 41 and on his way out in the next year or two. That's what that's about. It's not because of LeBron's game, it's because of his age." That's a hard truth to hear for Lakers fans who have loved watching LeBron in purple and gold. But it's also a truth that we need to grapple with as we think about where this franchise is headed. Luka Doncic is 26 years old. He's an MVP candidate. He's one of the best players in the world. He's the present and the future of this franchise. And when you have a player like that, you build around him, you give him the keys, you let him be the guy. You don't try to split responsibilities with a 41-year-old legend who, no matter how great he still is clearly in the twilight of his career. The reality is that through the 2025-26 season, LeBron is expected to sit out many more games. Load management has become a regular part of his routine. His left leg has been bothering him, and at his age, you can't just play through injuries the way you could when you were younger. The Lakers are being smart about managing his minutes and his availability, but that also means they need to be prepared for a future where he's not part of the equation at all. Doncic is the face of the franchise now. That's not a slight against LeBron. That's not disrespect. That's just reality. Whether LeBron gets traded to another team soon or whether he retires as a Laker doesn't change that fundamental truth. The organization has made its choice. They've chosen youth over experience. They've chosen the next decade over the next season. They've chosen to build around a 26-year-old superstar rather than try to squeeze one more championship run out of a 41-year-old legend. So, let's talk about what this means practically. If the Lakers are serious about moving LeBron, what would that look like? First of all, it wouldn't be easy. LeBron has a no-trade clause, which means he would have to approve any deal. He's not going to just accept being shipped off to some lottery team in a salary dump. If he's going to waive that clause, it's going to be to go to a contender, a team where he thinks he can win one more championship before he hangs it up. The Cavaliers make sense. LeBron has history there. They're a young team on the rise. He could go back home and finish his career where it started. The Heat makes sense. He won championships there. Pat Riley knows how to manage veteran stars. Miami's culture would embrace him. The Warriors make sense. Imagine LeBron teaming up with Steph Curry for one last run. That would be must-see television and a legitimate championship contender. But here's the thing. Any team that trades for LeBron is taking on significant risk. You're getting a 41-year-old player with injury concerns who's going to miss games for load management. You're paying him a massive salary. You're giving up assets to acquire him. And you're doing all of this for maybe 1 or 2 years of production. That's a tough sell for most organizations, even if the player in question is LeBron James. From the Lakers' perspective, what would they want in return? They're not going to get equal value. You can't get equal value for a 41-year-old player, no matter who he is. But they could get some useful pieces. Maybe a solid role player or two. Maybe a young prospect. Maybe a future draft pick. The goal wouldn't be to win the trade in terms of talent. The goal would be to clear salary cap space, to open up minutes for younger players, and to fully commit to the Doncic era without any lingering questions about roles or responsibilities. I want to be clear about something. I'm not advocating for the Lakers to trade LeBron. I'm not saying I want to see him in another uniform. LeBron James is a legend, and he's earned the right to finish his career on his own terms. If he wants to retire as a Laker, then the organization should honor that. If he wants to chase one more ring elsewhere, then they should facilitate that. But what I am saying is that we need to be realistic about where things stand and where they're headed. The Lakers are 15-4. They're playing championship-level basketball. Luka Doncic looks like an MVP. Austin Reaves has taken a massive leap. The role players are contributing. The defense is solid. The offense is dynamic. Everything is clicking, and a big part of why everything is clicking is because there's clarity about roles and hierarchy. Doncic is the guy. Reaves is the number 2. Everyone else knows their role. That clarity is powerful, and it's a big reason why this team is succeeding. When LeBron is in the lineup, that clarity gets muddied, not because he's a bad teammate or because he's selfish, but because he's LeBron James. Because he's used to being the guy. Because his basketball instincts are to dominate the ball and control the game. Because coaches and teammates naturally defer to him, given his resume and his greatness. That's not a criticism. That's just how it works when you have a player of his stature. But it does create complications when you're trying to establish a new hierarchy and a new identity. The Lakers sat LeBron against the Pelicans this past Sunday for load management. They won. The offense looked great. Everyone was involved. The pace was up. It was a reminder that this team can function at a high level without him. Again, that's not a knock on LeBron. It's just an observation about where this roster is at and what the optimal configuration might be moving forward. So here's what I think happens. I think the Lakers and LeBron have some honest conversations over the next few months. I think they discuss what's best for both parties. If LeBron genuinely believes he can still be a number 1 option on a championship team, then maybe it makes sense for him to explore other opportunities where he can have that role. If he's comfortable accepting a reduced role and mentoring the younger players while chasing one more ring in LA, then maybe he stays. But something has to give, because the current situation, where there's ambiguity about his role and his future, isn't sustainable for a team with championship aspirations. What I'm most excited about is the future of this franchise with Luka Doncic. This guy is special. He's doing things that we haven't seen since Kobe. He's embracing the pressure. He's making his teammates better. He's delivering in clutch moments. He's showing the kind of leadership and maturity that you usually don't see from a 26-year-old. And he's got Austin Reaves growing alongside him, which is a partnership that could define Lakers basketball for the next decade. The trade of Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic will be debated for years. AD is still a phenomenal player, and I'm sure there are moments where Lakers fans miss his defensive presence and his versatility. But when you look at the big picture, when you think about building a sustainable contender rather than chasing short-term success, the trade makes sense. Luka gives us a foundation to build on for the next 10 years. That's invaluable in today's NBA, where windows close quickly and opportunities are fleeting. I remain incredibly optimistic about where this Lakers team is headed. 15-4 is real. The chemistry is real. The talent is real. The coaching is real. We have a legitimate chance to compete for a championship this season, and we have an even better chance over the next several seasons as Luka continues to develop and as we add pieces around him. The LeBron situation is complicated and emotional, but it doesn't change the fundamental truth that this franchise is in great shape moving forward. Now, I want to hear from you, Lakers Nation. How do you feel about the possibility of LeBron being traded or leaving the team? Do you think the Lakers should move on and fully commit to the Luka era? Or do you believe LeBron still has a meaningful role to play on this roster? And if he does get traded, where would you want to see him go? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this is a conversation that our entire community needs to have together. If you found this analysis valuable, if I gave you perspectives and insights that you weren't getting anywhere else, then make sure you're subscribed to Lakers News Fan Report. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. We're bringing you daily content covering every angle of this Lakers season, from breaking news to deep strategic analysis to the honest conversations that other channels won't have. Share this video with your fellow Lakers fans who need to understand what's happening with this franchise. Let's build this community together and support our team through every decision, every challenge, every step toward banner number 18. Lake Show for life, and I'll catch you in the next one.